I'm here, Sara Sigmundsdottir, here in beautiful Dubai.
Yes.
This has been home for you for a couple months now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been an on and off home. So I came here to quarantine for the CrossFit Games because I had to make an appearance. So I was here for 2 weeks, loved it, was working closely with my physio. I was getting like it was 4 months from surgery, so we were like trying to find how much we can start pushing the body again.
Yeah.
And then I went to the States, got COVID.
Yeah.
Went to London for 10 days and did a fashion show. So it was pretty weird.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. And for my collection, my clothing line. So this is what I've been doing in my recovery, is like focusing more on that side. And yeah, so then I decided to come back here because the weather is amazing and my best friend lives here and I love it here. And here we are, finishing my first competition since I tore my ACL.
Yeah. So let's talk about that rehab.
Yeah.
So obviously you had big expectations going into the 2021 season.
Yes.
And right before the Open.
Yeah, a day before the Open.
You tore your ACL.
Yeah.
And just devastated.
Yeah, it was a very big shock. And it's almost like when it happened, it was like, this can't be true. Like, sometimes when you're nervous or stressed and you want something so much, you start making up things in your head, like you over exaggerate what it could be. And I was like, this is one of those things when I'm just like, I'm thinking it's an ACL and then it's just a little bit swollen and it's all gonna be fine. And it's like, it's a torn ACL. Oh.
Yeah.
So it was like a small slap in the face.
Yeah. Well, talk about that. When something like that happens, mentally, that has to be draining.
Oh,
like how do you avoid, and that's one thing that's not talked about in the sport, is like athletes do get depressed. They have ups and downs, and that's when they're healthy. But here you are, you suffer a major injury that just eliminates you from the whole season, and you don't know where to go because you've never had a major injury like this before.
Exactly.
But talk about how you dealt with the mental side of that.
So it's like your body is so amazing and your mind is so amazing. It's like, or how I do it is that I look at the things that I can control. I mean, that's a pretty basic thing of just like, I would start stressing about like, oh gosh, now everybody's gonna be ahead of me. I'm gonna lose a whole year of competition. When I come back, the standard is gonna be way higher. I'm never gonna reach my potential because I've torn ACL, and I'm always gonna think about it now when I'm split jerking that it could happen again. And like, you start making up these crazy things that don't benefit you at all. And then it's just like clicking and just like, okay, but what can I control? Why, like, instead of thinking like, oh, why does everything happen to me? I have it so hard. It's just like, okay, this here is happening to me for a reason. And I love Kobe Bryant, and I watched a lot of like documentaries in my rehab just to get motivated.
Yeah.
And there was one that was like him when he tore his Achilles. And he was saying like, oh, I was just the athlete that was chosen to go through this injury, to show people that you can go through the injury and be better when you come back.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm that person in CrossFit. Like, I tore my ACL, and if it happens to anybody else, they can look at me and see, Sara did it, I can do it. And that was my motivation of like, for the rehab, for recovery and everything. I was like, I want to be that person where people like, oh, do you remember 5 years ago when Sara tore ACL? And people wouldn't even know it because I'm better now.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit how I looked at it.
Yeah.
You find a goal from from what you can do.
Yeah. And then obviously it's led you to where you're at right now.
Yeah.
So during that process, it led you to this. Was this Dubai? Was this something that you said I have to be ready by this date, or do you just kind of play it by ear and then
play it by ear? I mean, I got a green light the 13th of December, and that was when I ran my first downhill.
Yeah.
And that was a week ago or something. 5 days ago.
Yeah.
And that was because I hadn't tested running downhill or uphill on my new knee.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's going to be on a ski slope. I'm guessing we're not going to run down, but how am I running up?
Yeah.
And just testing going down if it comes up. And then it was like, it was just like, I'm always surprising myself how good I am now.
Yeah.
Like, how much I'm starting to trust my body again. I think that was probably the hardest thing, was like, I was so hesitated that I would go too fast or something like that. So I mean, I'm so lucky with the people around me and the team around me. Like my manager, for example, he's just like, there's no pressure on you competing. Competing is just going to be for you to like have something to focus on and like have fun with it and see where you stand, and like don't put expectations on you and like it's so good to get these constant reminders of why you're doing what you're doing, because the competitor in me is also like, hey, you have been here and you're competing in front of people. When you're not here again, like we only show when we're best, but it's not true. We're human. I need to find my way to get back here, and by doing that I need to compete. I need to go out of my comfort zone. I need to experience disappointment when I'm in a competition and I didn't do the things that I should have done, and then I go in training and I'm thinking about those things.
So this past weekend, where would you say you're at percentage wise?
Oof, I'm so surprised. I mean, the points were insane. I mean, how the competition started was that we had these first 2 events in the ski, and I was in the first heat, so we were like almost testing the workouts for everybody,
before everyone else.
And so what happened in event 2 is that the girl that was leading took the wrong turn, and a 7-minute workout turned into a 2-minute workout, which changed the leaderboard.
It did
so much, because then heat number 2 could see that it was a 2-minute workout versus 7-minute workout, and
they went harder.
Exactly. So it's like, if they're like these small things, then I'm just like, oh, I'm in 7th place now. I was 1 point from 6th. I'm like 11 points from 5th. And being in top 7 in this field, where there are 20 competitors or 19, I'm very happy with that. And it was also good for me to start like in the second heat, having to work my way up instead of like, I could have just accepted that I was not going to be good enough in this competition, but I had the fight in me, and that's what I needed.
Watching out there.
I still have it.
Watching out there, you could see that warrior spirit in you. That look came back.
The body wasn't quite following. I definitely feel that today.
So where are you at? Would you say you're about 85% or 75, 90?
I would say I'm around 80% now. 80%? Like I have so much left in the tank, and I feel that this competition showed me that I'm on the right path. Like the clean and jerk, for example. I didn't think once about tearing my ACL when I did a split jerk, and I did 12.5 kilos heavier than what I've done. So doing that was just like, okay, my mind is coming back, and my trust is coming back, and I'm getting stronger, and it almost reminded me of like why you're doing this. It's been hard for the last 2 years of being a professional athlete, but not being on a competition floor. You're not seeing the athletes. You've been doing like these online competitions, and it doesn't feel the same. Like being here, the atmosphere of like, you're starting at this time, we're calling you out at this time. How do I warm up for this workout? How do I approach this workout? And the unknown is like, I miss that rush so much.
The nerves and the anxiety
and like
and
when you're like checking in, you get your shirts on, and it's just like, there's so much fun around it, and this is like exactly what I needed. Like, the fun is back.
Especially when the check-in, seeing your fellow athletes. Your competitors, your friends you haven't seen in a while, and then just sitting there catching up.
Exactly. Like I haven't seen Sam Briggs since I don't know when. Probably just like hi and bye at Waterpalooza 2020. But we haven't hung out since probably 2018 or something. And she came here a few days before this competition. We were training again together, and it was just like, it's so much fun seeing everybody again, and like the young girls that are up and coming, it's just amazing. Like there was a 16-year-old girl competing in this competition. She's top 10, and she was amazing. Like, so it's been, it's just the standard is going higher, and it's getting more of like, it's becoming a professional sport. I would say that. And it's good to be a part of it again.
Definitely. So you finished 7th, and you were so close from reaching top 5. What were your goals? I mean, did you have a goal of being top 10, top 5?
I didn't quite have any goals, but I mean, when you're a competitor, you always want to be podium or top 5 or something. But I knew inside that it wasn't realistic compared to, I've been training for about 6 weeks in total. So I'm like, okay, these are girls that have competed at the games, at Rogue, at like I can't compare myself to them yet, but I can see where I stand. If I'm top 5, that's great. If not, it's not the end of the world. I look at this competition as like, what do I need to work on? Where do I stand? Like, for example, the bike overhead squat, handstand walk workout. Where was I losing time? The handstand walk. Okay, I need to work on my speed and handstand walk. Like, you get this information of like what you need to focus on now.
Yeah. And then you go back to the shop.
Yeah, exactly. And then you compete again and you're like, have I improved? Have I not? It's that game that's so much fun. And before this competition, I was like, I've actually no idea what I should be working on because I don't know where I stand in anything anymore.
Well, and that's the interesting thing is like, not only was this your first competition for you in almost 2 years, but this is the first time that your
ACL,
not only your ACL, but the first time your coach, Max from Training Think Tank, actually got to see you and coach you in a live competition. So I mean, obviously you went over there to Atlanta and you've trained with them. But how awesome was it to have him there, to get feedback from him, to just start coming up with a game plan, because this kind of like sets the standard
for the next one. Like, we're still learning how to approach each other, and so this was actually the first time. So I did work with him 2017, then I went to Atlanta for a week. But then we didn't work together. We started working together in 2020. So if this is like the first time that we're actually meeting as coach and athlete. And it's been an amazing experience. Like, I've always been very independent and wanting to do things by myself. And he respects that, but gives me advice. So it's like the perfect combination of just like the balance there. And when I need something, I just ask for it. And versus him, like, he's still learning how my mind is approaching the things. And so I've been in the sport for such a long time, and I've done things myself for like, I was my own coach 2019, 2020. And I had my way of doing things. Maybe they weren't the right ways, but he's now seeing that. He has his opinion about that. Like, we haven't talked after the competition, but we just gave this a test drive. Like, we talked 2 days before it started, and we just planned out how the day should be. And it was the perfect plan.
Obviously. You know, I mean, you seem really happy out on the floor. I mean,
I'm so happy.
I mean, the smile was back. The fire in your eyes is back. I mean, was there a favorite event of yours during this weekend?
There are many. Like, I loved the overhead squat one. Like, the cut is like you have to go all out in each interval. And I actually loved the 21:59 too. Of like the bike toes to bar and then the burpees and row. That was disgusting, but it was. But it's so much fun. Like, you wouldn't go this hard in training, and then you surprise yourself on the floor of how hard you could go. But my favorite event this weekend is probably the last one. I loved the last one.
The rope climbs.
It was so much fun. But I wish it would have been like 2 rounds or something. It was so fast. I was like, I don't want it to be over.
So what are your plans from here? I mean, you've been in Dubai for a while. I mean, where do you go from here?
I'm going to Iceland for Christmas, and I think I'm meeting with Max now later, and we're just gonna plan a few things
so
for
just
the upcoming year.
Get ready for the Open.
Get ready for the Open and for the season.
Have you done any? I mean, you didn't get to do the Open last year.
No.
Did you do any of the workouts?
I haven't done, like, I just started training 6 weeks ago, and strength has been priority. Because like, I haven't done strength work for 8 months. So that's been priority, and getting range of motion back, and learning how to deal with all the compensations that I've been doing for the last 8 months. So I haven't tested any workouts or anything, and I haven't been doing a lot of CrossFit, to be honest. Like, it started maybe 2 weeks ago. I started doing more watts, but maybe 2-3 a week. So I have enough left in the tank still.
So you haven't done a handstand walk yet?
I've done a handstand walk,
all right.
but I haven't done like a specific workout as a test.
Sure. Well, is there anything else you have going on? Like, what? I mean, obviously, you know, signing with WIT. Now you're signed with Toe Spacer.
I'm a designer now.
Exactly, designer. I mean, talk about that. How fun has that been?
It's been the savior of my rehab. Let's say that.
Keeping you mentally.
Like, you just. As soon as I was feeling bad about not competing at the games, like, I was still a part of the games because of WIT, and because I was launching my collection around it. So I had this thing that I was hyped for, like I was excited for, and like having my own freaking fashion show, and it was just insane. Like seeing girls wearing stuff that I had drawn up, and it was actually on a person. Like I was competing yesterday, and I saw Emma wearing my pants. Emma Lawson, and I was just like, this is so insane that one of my competitors is wearing pants that I designed a few months ago. And now she's just competing in a like worldwide competition in those pants. And looks great in them. Like
and she did well too.
And she did so well.
Like
it's all in the pants.
It's in the pants. No, I talked to her about that, and she I don't know, did you able to have a conversation with her and maybe offer some advice, because she's 16 years old.
So she's I had a call with her before the semifinals last year.
Oh wow.
So she did semifinals, or she qualified for semifinals. And she did so well, and she had small like adversity in the beginning. She tore her hand so badly, but she still finished the competition. Like she didn't have to finish it. She had already qualified for the teens. But she went for it, and this is what I love about her, is that her mindset is so good. She's just so focused. She knows what she wants, and she goes after it. She puts the work in. And it's so inspiring to see a 16-year-old girl that has that mindset. I definitely did not have that mindset at 16-year-old. I was all in for pizza at that time and just, hanging out.
That happens.
That happens.
But we talk about the 16-year-old, but you're in a competition that, you had Sam Briggs. And just seeing her go, I mean, isn't it crazy? She won 3 events, and she said she had a kind of a bum knee too, but she
she has I think she has an extra kneecap on her knee because
it's that swollen.
There's something that she's been having some problems in her knee, and she started compensating a little bit. And there's like cartilage on the side or something, and I was just like looking at it the other day, and I was like, can you use it? And then she wins 3 events and just like crushes the competition. She's in 4th, or was in 4th place. She proves it every time that age is just a number. Like mindset is everything. And is
that something like her, and then obviously Kristen Holta competing? I mean,
it's weird knowing. Like I also find it sad to know that Carrie Pierce isn't competing anymore. Like she's one of my favorite persons here, and then Kristen Holta is done, and then Sam Briggs, this is her last year, and I'm just like, what is happening? Where's my crew? But it's it's just a new field, and you just go with it and try to be the best, right?
Well, how much longer do you after seeing them kind of step away, or how much longer do you think you can do this, or how much longer do you want to do this?
I think that I would want to do individual for about 3 to 4 more years, and then hopefully start a family around that time. Like I want to be around 30-ish when I start a family. So, or in my 30s. So I'm probably like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. I had no idea that I would tear my ACL for a year, and now I just want to add another year to my career because I lost 1 year. But it's just, I think you just feel it when you've, like I talked to Chris and I was like, so are you going team? And she's like, no.
Just done.
I'm done. Like this is the last competition. I'm gonna end it on a high note, and I'm done. And I was just like, I respect that. Like I think I'll be the same. No, I won't. I'll 100% go team probably. But I want to be just all in for about 3 to 4 more years, and then,
Well, we can't wait. Obviously, seeing what we saw today or this past weekend, and and you only being at 80%, I can't wait to see you at 100%.
Exactly. Me too. And I can't wait for like also just working with Max and being a training think tank in that environment. And like I train so much by myself, I don't get pushed enough. And so now I'm going in a uncomfortable environment where I'm getting pushed a lot, like and that's going to be so good for me. And I think it's also so good to see other people going after the same things as you, because then you get reminded of why you want it and why you put in the work.
Well, we can't wait to see what the next season has in store for you.
Thank
Can't
you
wait
so
to
much.
see you on top of that leaderboard.
Yeah, thank you so much.